The Texas Tech football team hit the road with hopes of starting the season 3-0, but they faced more adversity in Arizona than expected. Coming up, MCTV's Paige Sachse will be in the studio with a look back at the Red Raiders' loss to the Wildcats.
The search for a new administrator to head up the university's marketing and communications is underway. We'll have a look at the first candidate to stop by the campus next.
And Texas Tech is making news as the university received a special recognition. Find out how this recent ranking should help you feel a little more safe on campus.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Kristen Soza.
And I'm Austin Seed. After a winning start to the 2019 season, the Texas Tech football team faced their toughest opponent so far on the road in Arizona.
MCTV's Paige Sachse joins us in the studio with a recap of Saturday's tough test against the Wildcats. Paige?
Thanks, Kristen and Austin. The Red Raiders headed west this weekend with high hopes of starting their season 3-0 under new head coach Matt Wells. Unfortunately, the team wasn't able to bring home a win, losing to Arizona 28-14. The first half of the game seemed to be setting up a defensive showdown between the Red Raiders and the Wildcats. Tech struck first with less than a minute left in the first quarter, and Arizona didn't find the end zone until the beginning of the second period. Arizona struck one more time before the half but missed an extra point, leaving the game well within reach for Tech. But after halftime, the Red Raiders were only able to score one more time in the third quarter, and the Wildcats took over, handing Tech their first loss of the season. Coming up later in sports, I'll have a look at highlights and stats from Saturday's game. Back to you, Austin.
Thanks, Paige. In other news, Texas Tech University is currently in a search of a new head for the university's marketing and communications efforts. The new administrative position was announced earlier this summer, and the university is bringing 4 finalists to campus for formal interviews. Earlier today, the first candidate for the position of Chief Marketing and Communications Officer stopped by the Sub's Escondido Theater for a public presentation. Brian Mullen is currently the Executive Director of Marketing for the Lone Star College System. Mullen had a chance to address the audience, which was made up of members of the campus community. Mullen spoke about his experience and background, along with his vision for the job. The presentation was only one part of Mullen's interview process. During the rest of his visit, Mullen had a chance to tour the campus and meet with different groups who will directly work with the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. The next 2 candidates will be on campus this Wednesday and Friday, followed by the final visit next Tuesday.
Next month, the campus will mark a somber anniversary as Texas Tech remembers the life of Officer Floyd East Jr., who was killed on campus 2 years ago. But efforts made to enhance safety measures since that incident have brought the university national recognition. Earlier this semester, Texas Tech was announced as one of the top 100 most secure college campuses in the U.S. by SecureLife.com. The university was one of only 10 institutions in Texas listed in the rankings, and Texas Tech is 5th safest out of the Texas schools. The ranking was based on 11 years of crime data for public colleges in the U.S. The data included information about property crime, and Texas Tech was listed as one of the schools with the lowest rates of burglary, robbery, and car theft. The recognition highlighted the university's continuing attempt to increase the safety of the campus. Within the last 2 years, the university has installed additional security cameras in random locations, increased the number of license plate readers to monitor traffic, and hired additional personnel for the campus's police department.
The campus bus service can be a real time and energy saver for many students here at Texas Tech. But if you're ever in need of a ride after the buses stop for the night, there is another option for you. Transportation and Parking Services is currently offering the Raider Ride program each night starting at 6 p.m. Raider Ride is a service for students that offers free transportation to and from any location on the main campus or the satellite parking lots. Raider Ride is also available for off-campus travel with a fee of $5 per rider per trip. Raider Ride is available every day during the semester from the first day of class through commencement, except for holidays. Students interested in using Raider Ride must have a valid Tech ID. For more information on Raider Ride, visit parking.ttu.edu or download the Tap Ride app.
Students enjoyed a nice weekend here on campus as temperatures stayed in the low 90s and upper 80s on both Saturday and Sunday.
That's right, Christian. It sure beats the 100-degree highs we saw back in August. But does this mean that the fall is finally setting in here on the South Plains? MCTV's Madison Hartin joins us in studio with a look at this week's forecast. Madison?
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm glad that everyone enjoyed those relatively cool temperatures we were having over the past couple of days, but sadly, fall is not in full swing yet. We are still dealing with summer temperatures, but due to some rain later this week, we will be experiencing things a little bit cooler, so we have that to look forward to. Right now, looking at our MCTV tower cam, we can see that all the sprinkles we had over the past weekend have blown out of the area, and right now we have a couple mid-altitude clouds dotting the area, but for the most part, it's relatively clear. Our high for today jumped all the way up to 89 degrees. It's mostly sunny and warm outside, and our wind is coming from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then for tonight, the temperature is going to drop back down to about 66 degrees, clear and cool conditions, and that wind is going to be coming from the south by southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking at the South Plains as a whole, we can see that all of the South Plains is having a bit of a cold snap right now, with most of our cooler temperatures being out to the west of us, and the warmer temperatures really aren't getting that much higher anymore. We haven't broken 100 in the past couple days, and our highest temperatures are getting up into about the, I say 90s, some in the upper 80s, but we haven't broken 100 in a while, which is relatively nice. That means that we are slowly, ever so slowly, moving out of the hot summer temperatures. For tomorrow, our high is going to be around 90 degrees, low of 67, and that southerly wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour is going to be continuing for the rest of the week. Wednesday, high of 92, low of 66, and that southerly wind is going to be jumping down a little bit, not as gusty, with a wind of 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then for Thursday, that's when it starts to get really interesting. We'll be experiencing a little bit cooler temperatures with a high of 88 and a low of 66, and that southeasterly wind at 10 to 50 miles per hour. And that cold snap is going to be due to some rain moving into the area. 30% chance of rain starting in about the late afternoon, early evening, and that has the potential to continue on to Friday and make it a little bit rainy this weekend. So hopefully that doesn't rain on anyone's weekend plans, but you never know what's going to happen around here. The weather changes so quickly. That's all that we have for today. I'm Madison Hartin for MCTV. Back to you.
Thanks, Madison. One of the unique opportunities offered to college students is the opportunity to take courses in another country. And if you've been considering the option of study abroad, there's an annual event that might help you make a final decision. The fall edition of the Study Abroad Fair is scheduled to take place this Thursday in the Sub Ballroom, starting at 10 a.m. Representatives from various departments will be available to talk to potential students about future study abroad opportunities. Attendees can learn more about each of the programs, the curriculum, and the location options around the globe. The Study Abroad Fair is also a great chance to learn about different cultures and see what foreign country might best fit your interest. For more information about this week's fair, just visit studyabroad.ttu.edu.
As we mentioned earlier, the Texas Tech football team is back home after a rough weekend on the road.
MCTV's Paige Sachse joins us again with more details on Saturday's game, along with a look around Tech athletics and sports. Paige?
Thanks, Austin and Kristen. Texas Tech football ended the weekend with their first loss of the season. Texas Tech is known for having one of the most successful offenses in all of college football, but Arizona kept the Red Raiders under control most of the night. Texas Tech quarterback Alan Bowman threw 2 interceptions, throwing for 311 yards and 1 touchdown. The only lead of the game for the Red Raiders was an 8-yard pass to McLean Mannix in the third quarter, and a tough 28-14 loss for Tech, but the Red Raiders look to get back in the winning column in 2 weeks against Oklahoma. Lady Raider volleyball ended a successful weekend at the UNLV Invitational, sweeping Idaho 3-0. Senior Emily Hill had an impressive day with 16 kills, along with junior Emerson Solano with 15 digs. In the first match, the Red Raiders continued to lead for most of the way. Idaho went for a 5-2 run, and a clinched kill by Caitlin Dugan sealed the deal for set 1. In set 2, Allison White and Brooke Canis were the notable names for the set, with multiple kills themselves. Set 3 was nothing different for the Lady Raiders, as they tallied 7 kills and continued to lead to sweep the series. Next up, the volleyball team will welcome Abilene Christian for their home opener at 6 p.m. at the United Supermarkets Arena. The Texas Tech soccer team marked another sweep this weekend against UC Irvine to win the Cougar Classic. Kristen Davis continued her multi-goal game streak with 2 goals in 3 games this season. Some of other notables of the weekend include Macy Schultz and Hannah Anderson, Savannah Jones and Jordy Howe, all with a goal each. Moving on to Week 2 of the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys stay in the winning column with their second win on the season against the Washington Redskins. The Cowboys had a slow start against the Redskins and eventually picked up momentum. Dak Prescott has been on fire so far this season, to say the least. Dak made great passes to Josh Norman and a 51-yard touchdown to wideout Devin Smith right before the half. Jason Witten also scored for the second straight game as well. The Cowboys game ended the day with a 31-21 win. There were a few pretty close and interesting games yesterday, and one of them was with the Houston Texans. They had a nail-biter of a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars that ended in a close 13-12 victory. It seemed the offensive line had a tough time protecting the quarterback as Deshaun Watson was sacked 4 times. The first touchdown of the game came from turnover in the fourth quarter for the Texans, but when it seemed that the Texans had the win locked up, the Jaguars ran in for a quick touchdown and made a gutsy decision going for a 2-point conversion that ended in a heartbreaker for Jacksonville, but a close win for Houston. That's all for sports. Back to you, Kristen and Austin.
Thanks, Paige. So, Austin, did you catch any football this weekend?
I did. I had a lot of fantasy football players playing yesterday, so I watched all of it.
Well, that's all we have for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.